Sorcerers are very charismatic.
I am most magnificent!
See?
Hi everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
If you couldn't tell by the intro, we're talking about the Sorcerer for Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Sorcerer's gonna get all these proficiencies right here. They're pretty boring, except for the fact that you gain a skill proficiency based on your bloodline, which is something that we're gonna talk about soon.
And by soon, he means right now. Sorcerers actually get to choose between primal, occult, arcane, or divine spell lists.
Yep, sorcerers can cast from whatever tradition they want.
Yeah.
They just have to pick the bloodline for it. On paper, the most flexible thing in the game. You get a pick from any spell list.
It's a huge flexibility thing that you immediately lose at level 1.
Right.
You're like, cool, I get to choose from any of these. I'm going to choose this one spell school.
Locked.
And I'm
Locked
I'm
forever.
Pretty much locked to it. We're going to actually go over a specific bloodline at the very end of the video so that it gives you a better explanation of how all of the bloodline features work. You're going to be gaining a skill based off of your bloodline, which we mentioned. You're also going to get a focus point, and you're also going to get a specialty spells that you're going to have because of your bloodline.
Right. Sorcerers are a spontaneous caster. That means that you don't have to do the daily preparation. This spell into this spell slot and this other spell into the caveat for that being that if you want to cast a spell at a certain level, you have to know the spell at that level. You cannot freely heighten spells. You don't know every spell at every level. When you learn a spell, you choose the level at which you learn it. It is a little bit more complicated during the leveling process, but it is way simpler during the prep process because you just have this list and this is all you can do, and you can do it as long as you have the slot.
Oh my gosh, I really wish I would have prepped. Oh wait, I did.
I did. I have that spell. The spontaneous caster equivalent of that is, oh, I wish I had learned this spell.
You also are going to get cantrips, which are 0 level spells.
Somebody told us to stop saying
I
0
know,
level spells.
I know, but
they are similar to what 0 level spells used to be, but they are automatically heightened to your highest level of spell slot. We absolutely will discuss that when we do a spellcasting video, which is coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.
and by a channel.
This one.
This
It's
one,
not just
yeah.
a random, it's this one.
Yeah.
Come to this one.
At level 2, you're going to get a Sorcerer feat. You're going to get this at every even level thereafter. It is a spellcaster, so you're not gaining this at level 1.
Right.
All of the stuff that you get from your bloodline, it's just like, you've had enough.
Well, it's also just the power of spellcasting that
Sure.
you get at level 1, which is just like, hey, just use spells. At 3rd level, you're going to get signature spells. This is directly contrasting something that we said was a limitation of this class, which is good. That's how you make things better. At 3rd level, you're going to get to pick a spell of each level that you can cast. That spell's going to become a signature spell of yours, meaning that you can heighten that spell as though you knew it at every level that you have access to. So if you pick a 1st level spell and you have 4th level slots, you can just cast that 1st level spell at 4th level without having to spend a known spell slot learning it at that level.
If it is a spell that you can normally learn at 1st, but you have learned it at 5th level or 4th level, you can also use this to cast it at a lower level as well.
We're going to be skipping over some things like ability boosts and skill increases and things like that because they are generic in nature and it would get boring if we did them all. Also, it would make more video for me to edit unnecessarily. It takes me long enough as it is. Hi, everybody that watches these at 3 in the morning.
Waking up at 7 in the morning, I'm like, 23 comments, what?
Yeah, it's funny.
At 5th level, you're going to get Magical Fortitude, where your Fortitude save proficiency is going to increase to Expert.
Noise. At 7th level, you're going to get Expert Spellcaster. Self-explanatory. Your class DC goes to Expert. It's not self-explanatory this time, though, because there is a caveat that it is spells of your bloodline's tradition. That has implications because you can dip into other traditions using some feats of the Sorcerer. So unless that feature says, oh, you can use your class DC proficiency for this too, you can't because of this caveat.
I think the reason that they specifically did this is because instead of saying your arcane or your occult or your primal, I think they're just saying whatever you can cast.
And maybe there's like supplement down the road like that does something with this caveat, but maybe right now it doesn't do anything.
We made that way more complicated than it needed to be.
I mean, it has the potential to be very complicated.
No, it does. No,
for all intents and purposes at like this point, the proficiency goes up, and you can just play it that way. But this has the potential to become very complicated.
Exactly.
Down the road.
At 9th level, you're gonna get Lightning Expert.
Lightning Expert. Your damage with lightning spells goes up by 100.
Lightning Reflex is where your reflex proficiency increases to Expert.
Nice.
I said it right that time.
Good job.
No. My reflexes weren't like that.
11th level, you get Alertness. Your perception proficiency is going to go up to Expert.
Also at 11th level, you're going to get Simple Weapon Expertise, where your weapon proficiency in simple weapons goes up to Expertise.
That no joke took 7 takes. Why?
It's an expert, not expertise.
Whatever! I'm done. You can add all of that bleeps.
That's gonna take so long to edit.
Defensive Robes. I will say that's a cool name.
I'm gonna 180 and say that's the dumbest name I've
You don't
ever
like
seen.
it?
No, that's so stupid.
Because it's just like, well,
Defensive robes?
yeah.
Unless they become like sentient, like the one Doctor Strange. I'm not buying defensive robes.
It's just,
that doesn't make.
you're like, I'm really good at wearing no armor.
I'm really good at wearing these robes.
Yeah.
At 13th level, you get defensive robes, which is the dumbest name.
I like it.
Your proficiency with unarmed defense is gonna go to expert. They should make it say exactly what it is happening when your AC like protects you from damage. Oh shit, that's not gonna happen again, or something to that effect.
This is what happens when we record late. Also at 13th level, you're gonna get Weapon Specialization, where your damage goes up.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I mean, we don't hate it. We hate talking about it every single week.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
You don't have to be frustrated. This
No.
is just a special us being frustrated thing. At 15th level, you get Master Caster. This is
Master Blaster runs quite a turn.
your proficiency with spell attack rolls and spell DCs is gonna go up to Master for
Your Bloodline
your
tradition.
Bloodline tradition.
Yeah. At 19th level, you're gonna get Bloodline Paragon, where you're going to be able to gain two 10th level spells to your repertoire. You're gonna only get 1 spell slot for it, but you can take a feat to gain an additional spell slot. 10th level spells are massive, world-changing, huge, gigantor craziness.
We haven't read an arcane one yet, have we? Do you want to read an arcane one?
Sure.
A, B, C, D, E, F, Gate. This 10th level spell is called Gate. Gate requires 2 actions, somatic and verbal. It has a range of 120 feet, and the duration is sustained up to 1 minute. We're going to talk about sustained when we talk about spellcasting. You tear open a rift to another plane, creating a portal that creatures can travel through in either direction. This portal is vertical and circular with a radius of 40 feet. The portal appears at a location of your choice on the destination plane, assuming you have a clear idea of both the destination's location on the plane and what the destination looks like. If you attempt to create a gate into or out of the realm of a deity or another powerful being, that being can prevent the gate from forming. That is not traditionally powerful in the way that some of the other ones we read were.
It's not like here's a bunch of damage.
Right, but that is immensely powerful in its own right. The ability to just, on a whim, traverse planes is really strong with anyone that you would like. The caveat being that you need to rest before you do it again. And is sustained up to a minute, meaning you can just close it when you want to close it. Here's a portal, everybody go on in, boop, portal's gone.
This is a high level spell that affects everything and everyone.
Yeah.
And it's not just everyone and everything, it's everyone on 2 different planes.
It's everyone on 2 different planes, and it's like, it's one of the few things you could do to completely change the way the game works. Because think of it this way, the portal that is on the plane that you are going to can be placed anywhere as long as you know where it is. Open a portal to this plane that is relatively safe, hop through, and then we go back to my home plane, and I can go wherever I want as long as I know where that place is. I just need a rest.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy good. If your players know of a safe plane, bottom line.
Yeah.
Distance is not an issue anymore.
Sure. At 19th level, you're gonna get Legendary Spellcasting, where your spell attacks and your DCs for your Bloodline Tradition spells proficiency increases to Legendary.
First take, nice.
The Bloodline example we decided to go over was the Diabolic one. That is the Bloodline in which Molly has chosen for her character Moss, because this is an evil, silver-tongued person. Not Moss, but the Bloodline. And that Bloodline can be either that there was like a demon in your Bloodline, there was some sort of like infernal
Contract,
pact.
yeah. The Diabolic Bloodline is going to give you access to the Divine Spell list. Divine and holy are different.
Yes.
Divine is not holy. Divine means a higher power. That higher power doesn't have to be benevolent.
Yeah. You're also going to gain proficiencies in deception and religion for skills. Below, you're going to see all of the granted spells that you're going to be given by having this bloodline. It's very much control based, but then there's also things like Meteor Swarm.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to be manipulative and subtle, and I'm gonna
Suggestion and charm.
bend people to my will. And the 9th level is just like, oh, by the way, giant meteors are gonna crash into you, and you're going to die, but you're gonna enjoy it because I'm gonna make you think that it's good. Next, we're gonna talk about bloodline spells. You're gonna get one bloodline spell base for free at level 1. You have 2 other options at 2 other levels that I can't remember off the top of my head.
6th and 10th.
Thank you very much, Indigo. And those are gonna be ones that you have to pick through feats. Bloodline spells are really interesting. They're what you use your focus points for, first of all. That's really important to know. Super unique and kind of fun and very well flavored, I think, for the bloodlines, like individual style. Your initial bloodline spell is Diabolic Edict. This is going to allow you to basically like create a pact with another creature, and it's going to get a bonus to completing the pact, but if the creature refuses, it's going to get a penalty. Deal with the devil. That's very clearly what they were going with here.
Yeah, you are going to cast this spell primarily on a friendly target. And they're going to be like, cool, I'm going to do the thing, hey, attack that dude. And if they're like, oh, but this dude's better if I attack him, like, no, and then you get a -1.
Yeah.
So if you decide to continue down the bloodline, feat tree, you can choose the Advanced Bloodline at 6th level, where you're going to be getting Embrace of the Pit, where you are going to grow horns and your skin changes colors, and you get resistance to evil. You're taking on evil aspects, so you're now going to be resistant against those things. You have this like paladin-y like aspect where you're just like, I'm going to be resistant to evil because I'm such a good person.
I see what you're saying.
And you know what I mean? And
it's like the magnet, like opposites attract, but now they're repelling, and it's kind of like both situations give you resistance to evil. Why? This isn't a conversation about rules. This is a conversation about tropes.
Yes.
Like that's what the thing is. If you decide you want to progress even further down the feat tree, at 10th level, you can pick up Hellfire Plume. Similarly to the way that the bloodline spells worked. It just does a ton of damage. It does 46 fire and 46 evil. It's just a big off pillar of fire, and it does a ton of damage.
Now, on top of your bloodline spells that you gain, you're also going to have blood magic, a status effect that can be added to the spells in which you cast.
Blood magic isn't supposed to represent an evil thing. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because we're talking about the Diabolic bloodline. Blood magic isn't evil magic.
No.
It is just magic that is like, the way your magic behaves is different because of your actual blood.
Yeah, it's because it's going with the fact that all of your magic is internal versus
Right.
all of the other spellcasters
Yes.
are external means of which they can cast spells.
So don't think of this as like, shink ha! Not that kind of blood magic.
The two choices you have for the Diabolic blood magic is that you can deal 1 additional fire damage per level of the spell in which you're casting, or you can get a +1 status bonus to your deception for 1 round. You look at the spell lists and you're looking, oh wait, you've got charm, you've got a suggestion. Having that +1 deception is going to be super helpful, especially because it's free.
You're going to be able to apply these features whenever you cast one of your Bloodline's granted spells, which is this list from earlier, or when you cast one of your Bloodline spells, which are the ones we just went over that you have to take the feats to get more of.
The Bloodline adds so much more to it, and like the fact that there's a bunch of different branching options to go with the feats that you have. I really love this caster. I find it very flexible. It's very unique, and I think it's going to be very, very hard to have 2 different sorcerers, or 2 of the same sorcerers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
My favorite thing flavor-wise about the Sorcerer is that it is the caster that didn't necessarily choose to be a caster. And so it's like one of the few options you have in the game to play something that is reluctantly powerful. Like, you can't be a reluctantly powerful monk. You train to get there. Or even a wizard, which is like the counterpart for the Sorcerer. You're smart. You read and read and read and read. And maybe it's like, oh, your parents forced you, or like it was some cultural thing. You can do stuff like that. But this is like an accident. Like, this is like, oh, I don't even know. What's a 2nd level spell? Like, oh, these are cool. Like, you could be completely oblivious to how magic works and still be using it all over the place. And that's just like a super fun play style. As long as you don't use it to get your party into trouble, don't be that guy.
Or do, because that leads to fun stories. In fact, why don't you head down in the comments and let us know a fun story that you could have with your sorcerer.
Ooh.
While you're down there, make sure to hit the like button because it's super, super, super helpful for the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And then if you want to see all of our content, there's a lot, and there's a lot of different types of it. Hit the bell icon. If you don't want to do that, don't
click it.
Yeah. And then if you want to talk to us, you can talk to us on Twitter. You can talk to me there at IndigoQT.
And you can talk to me on Twitter at QueueTimes, or you can talk to all three of us at all these social media things down here. I have an imaginary friend. One of these things is Patreon.
Yes.
If you have money that you would like to part with, and you feel like giving it to us, you can feel free to, just do the Patreon thing.
Also, head over to Discord. There's a bunch of us over there. We talk every day, I would say.
Yeah.
And, people are throwing builds in there, people asking advice, just talking about what's going on. There's a bunch of people just like, oh my god, look at this new thing that's happening with this, that's RPG related. Or there's also the Indigo web, which that's where all of the bad stuff goes.
Don't click on the Indigo one.
All right, everyone. Talk to you later.